October 1st, 2024, 7 p.m., and I'll call to order the Wayne Township Board of Trustees meeting. Welcome, everybody, and I saw you guys sign in, so I have to remind you, but may I have a roll call, please?
Ready, Ms. Colvin?
Here.
Mr. Kaufman?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can I have an approval of the previous meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 17th meeting.
I will second that.
Alrighty, all in favor,
Aye.
voice vote.
Aye.
September 17th, okay. Any nays? Haven't heard that, motion carried.
Do we have any additions, changes to the posted agenda?
No, we don't.
All right, now we'd like to welcome Judge Loxley and Judge Fisher.
Thank you. Do you have the slideshow presentation handy? That's great. Thank you for not reading up.
So yes, we have one.
Good, just need to be able to press everything.
Yeah, I'll just say next slide. It's a good time. If you, Mr. Edwards, you'll be the slide clipper for us. We really appreciate it. So, now we can give a siren.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much on behalf of the entire staff of the Warren County Court for allowing Judge Fisher and me to come out once again and give you this presentation this evening. We've kind of invited ourselves out here to be part of your agenda. We do that every 2 years, and we come out to all the jurisdictions in the Warren County Court jurisdiction, all 8 townships and all 10 villages and municipalities. So obviously Wayne Township is one of those. We're happy to be here again. Just to give you an update on what's happened since we were last year, give you an idea of what we're looking at in the next couple of years. I'll give the first half of the presentation, Judge Fisher will give the second half. So next slide, please. You know, when you hear Warren County Court, this is a refresher, I think, for most of you. When you hear Warren County Court, you say, well, Warren County Court's all Warren County, right? It's not. The Warren County Court, where we are, where Judge Fisher and I are, does not cover all of Warren County. So it's kind of misnamed. There are 3 municipal courts in Warren County. Franklin Municipal Court covers anything that happens in the Franklin Township, city limits of Franklin, it goes there. Anything in Turtle Creek Township or the city limits of Lebanon goes to Lebanon Municipal Court, and then down south, anything in Deerfield Township in the city limits of Mason goes to the Mason Municipal Court. We in the Warren County Court are everything else. So of the 11 townships, 3 of those are covered by the municipal courts. We have the other 8, like I say, in the 10 villages and municipalities. I cover the northern half of the docket primarily. Judge Fisher covers the second half or the lower half of the county in Area 2. We're interchangeable parts, though. We substitute for each other. You know, when we're on vacation, every seldom when we're on vacation, but we can do that. And even though I live up here in the northern part of the county, Judge Fisher lives in the southern part of the county, we don't have to live in the Area 1 or Area 2 jurisdiction. Thank you. Next slide. Here's our court staff. I'm not going to read it to you. They do a wonderful job on behalf of us, on behalf of the community and the justice system that we have there at the county court. I will point out a couple of things on this slide. On the left-hand side, toward the bottom, our new case assignment commissioner since we were last year is Aloysia Kisseberth. Aloysia worked for many, many years in the domestic relations board across the street. She joined us in late 2022, hit the ground running. And then on the right-hand side in our probation department, Madison Wallen, or Maddie, and Aline Stodenberger are the 2 newest employees we have in the county court staff. Next slide, please. Our presentation wouldn't be complete without going through numbers. That's what this slide entails. You can see from the 4 years that are listed and broken down to criminal, civil, probation, and traffic, and the total there at the bottom, our numbers of cases going back to 2019. Now, the 1 year that's not on there for obvious reasons is 2020 as a result of the pandemic. It would kind of skew the results and wouldn't give you a representative number of cases for that particular year. Even though we were open all of 2020, we never closed. We were an essential business. We did suspend juries for the last part of March, April, and May, and then resumed those on the 1st of June of 2020. But our total numbers for the year are kind of skewed, so we left those off. One thing I will point out, on this slide is the number of traffic citations. If you take a look at 2023, the number of traffic citations last year was just over 2,500. If you go back to 2019, it was far more than that. And we took a look at our historical slides and numbers in the county court. Our number of traffic citations back in 2007 exceeded 6,000. And 2008, the following year, was 5,100. So it's kind of a roller coaster ride. Who knows the reasons behind that? I mean, obviously, law enforcement's having a very difficult time filling their force and recruiting new members for obvious reasons. We did take a look at the mayor's courts in Warren County to see if maybe that has the same type of reflection. It is. It's kind of an up and down, kind of a roller coaster type of number. So you think, just stepping back for a moment, you think, well, with the population increase in Warren County, you would think that the traffic citations or the number of criminal cases would accordingly increase by the same percentage, but it's not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. When this presentation was given to another group earlier this year, one person chimed in and said, well, maybe this is the reason, Judge. Maybe when a person received a citation and came into your court and was sentenced, they knew better than to ever come back. And so maybe that precluded them from coming back. So who knows the reason behind that. But you can see we are nevertheless a busy jurisdiction. Next slide, please. I'm going to talk on this slide about current issues, and Judge Fisher will talk about some other current issues. There are two listed here. First, distracted driving. Who in the room hasn't seen somebody who's driving while distracted? I think we all have at one time or another. It just doesn't have to be on a country sleepy road either. It can be on the interstate and anything in between. But distracted driving has caught the attention of the Ohio legislature. The statute, I believe, was passed 2018. And then, as you recall, last year, effective April of 2023, about a year and a half ago, it became a primary offense. So you don't need a speeding offense or failure to control or accident or something like that. It's now a primary offense, and you can be cited just for distracted driving by itself. First offense in 2 years, maximum punishment $150 fine, 2 points on your driver's license. Second offense in 2 years, and by the way, these never come off your record. But a second offense in 2 years, then it's a heightened penalty of 3 points on your driver's license, a fine up to $250. If you get a third offense within a 2-year time frame, it's 4 points on your driver's license, a fine of up to $500. The big thing about that one is we can then suspend an individual's driver's license. And I haven't seen a second or third offense yet. I'll defer to Judge Fisher if he has, but we're seeing more distracted driving cases in our court because the effective enforcement began just a year ago this month, October 2023. People on their cell phones, I mean, you can do one swipe and one punch, that's it. That's it. And you can, if you're holding it up to your ear and talking on the cell phone, that's okay. But anything else you can't do. You can't dial a number, you can't send text, look at and try to read your phone, play video games, be on your laptop. I mean, there are all sorts of stories out there. And this is true.
See it every day.
Yeah.
I see it every day.
So that distracted driving is something that we're paying attention to, as well as the entire criminal justice system. Strangulation is the second topic here under the current issue slide that I'm responsible for telling you about. Strangulation is a term of art. We're talking about blocking the nose and mouth so that the person can't breathe, or the throat or neck so the person's airway is obstructed. It's a term of art, and as you can see from this slide, Ohio became the 50th state of all 50 states to make strangulation a felony. There's been a push from various interest groups to make that happen. It finally did happen in April of last year, again about a year and a half or so ago. What that means is strangulation becomes a felony. So felony is 5th degree if the person's strangulation efforts under that definition that I gave you involves a victim that's not a family or household member, if it creates a substantial risk of physical harm. If it's a family or household member, it's not a felony of the 5th degree, it's a felony of the 4th degree. And then it can be a felony of the 3rd degree if it creates a substantial risk of serious physical harm. If you actually create the serious physical harm as a result of strangulation, it's a felony of the 2nd degree, which is the second highest level felony in the state of Ohio. Where we've seen some of this before is either at the felonious assault area or domestic violence, where it doesn't rise to the level of the strangulation definition. And it remains to be seen whether or not our domestic violence cases will be reduced as a result of these. Sometimes it takes a period of adjustment. We see some strangulation cases that are bound over, usually because a person waives their right to a preliminary hearing. Well, the grand jury hears it and says, that's not strangulation, I'll send it back as a misdemeanor, maybe domestic violence or assault or something Next slide. My last slide, we talk about the specialized docket known as Veterans Court, and I think everybody here has heard maybe this briefing before. The specialized dockets in our court are something that Judge Fisher and I are very proud of. He'll tell you about his specialized docket involving mental health. Mine is Veterans Court, established, we're in our 10th year, believe it or not, the Warren County Veterans Court docket. And what we do is come up with an individualized treatment plan and offer that to a veteran who's in court and has a probationable offense, so that rather than our regular probation office supervising the probation of that veteran, the case is transferred to our specialized docket known as the Veterans Court. It's one of the most enjoyable things I do. You can see the statistics there. I'm not going to read them to you. We have a big graduation at the end, and it's a big deal because, you know, the whole idea is to what I call resurrect the redeemable qualities that our veterans have. You know, you have to be morally, educationally, and physically qualified to raise your right hand. And in this country today, between the ages of 17 and 24, which is the target population, only 23% would meet those three criteria. It's really amazing when you think of it.
Right.
So these veterans have those redeeming qualities, and we just try to give them a hand, get them back up on the wagon that they've fallen off of. It's an individualized treatment program, 4 phases, minimum year and a half of intensive probation up to a maximum of 5 years. But I think you've all heard this before. But that's the last slide I'm going to brief, and subject to your questions, I'll be followed by Judge Fisher. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Next slide, please. I'll talk about a couple of the current issues, the ones that we're dealing with, and many other courts are dealing with as well. One of them is expungement and sealing of records. The state of Ohio over the past decade or so has amended the laws to make it a little bit easier, to make it a little more functional for individuals to get a second chance. Everyone in this room, I'm sure, has made a bad decision in their life. Everyone that comes in front of us made a bad decision that led them into the courtroom, and many of them only have one. There are several that have a lot of bad decisions in a lot of different cases. However, the state of Ohio has recognized that even those individuals can rehabilitate at some point and move on with their lives, and then let's get their bad decisions out of the way so that they can continue to move forward. And that's what the expungement and sealing of the records are designed to do. Up until last year, up until April 4th of last year, it meant one and the same. So if someone filed to expunge or seal the record, it really meant the same thing. They would come in, we would make a determination if that record should be sealed or expunged, and then it would go into a file, be put aside. And it could only be looked at under very certain circumstances, very limited circumstances. Now, they are two completely different meanings. Sealing a record means what we used to do, putting it in a file, setting it aside, where it could be viewed only under limited circumstances. Those being, if someone wants to go into law enforcement, if someone wants to be a teacher, a trust occupation, a nurse, then those boards can actually look and see what someone's actual history was, even if the record was sealed. Expunge means you put it in that file, set aside, and light on fire as though it never existed. So that's the difference between the two. We have the discretion to determine if we believe the case should be expunged, sealed, or not. But it's one of those opportunities that people are looking to get additional employment. If they're looking to get housing, sometimes housing, their record can affect their ability to get an apartment. So the legislature is continuously looking at these laws to make it a little bit easier for someone to be able to put their history behind them. The public perception of the court system. Everyone has probably seen the Supreme Court decisions that have come out, the major Supreme Court decisions that have come out, as well as the fallout from those. I mean, if you read any of the articles, we read all the time that people are not happy with 6 or 9 of the Supreme Court justices, or 5 or 4, depending on what the decision is. And the court system has taken a hit. In New York, in Georgia, and throughout the country, it's taken a hit time and time again, where we understand more about what's going on in the court system. That is important to us. The perception of what people believe when they walk into our courthouse, what's going to happen. And I can guarantee, because Judge Lux and I make a point as well as our staff makes it a point, the clerks make it a point. Everyone who walks into our courtroom is going to be treated with respect. It doesn't matter what your role is. It doesn't matter what your title is as you come in. You will be treated with respect. You're going to be called Mr. and Miss, whatever your name is. You are going to be listened to. You will be heard. So we can guarantee that. We're not going to guarantee an outcome. No one is going to be able to do that. But at least we can make sure that the public perception of the court system within our county is going to be a positive. Again, the outcomes are something else, but we will make sure that people are treated with respect as they come in. The third issue that we have is we will have a new clerk of court. Jim Spaeth has been with us as a clerk of court for a couple of decades now. He's the only person that I've personally known as the clerk of court, and he is retiring. Brighton Smith has been elected in the primary. We have a general election, but he's running unopposed in the general election. So we know that we will have the new clerk of court. We know who it is. Judge Loxley and I both met with him. He has met our staff as well as the clerk staff over in our court, who he will be overseeing. We really do look forward to working with him. I know he has a lot of great ideas on how to drag me into the technological era. I would not have been able to do even what you were putting in. But we look forward to dealing with him and looking forward to the changes that will benefit our community. Next slide,
Yeah,
please.
he came in here and talked to us last year.
Oh, did
Yeah.
again, he's a very energetic man.
Yeah.
So we do look forward to that. The other big issue for us right now is we have a new court building that is being erected between our current facility and the juvenile court. The county commissioners have taken the due time to make sure that we have the right size, the right fit, and the right location for our court. Our current building is about 11,000 to 12,000 square feet. Before the sheriffs moved out, we had 6,700 square feet of it, with virtually the same staff that we have right now. We are going to have 21 to 22,000 square feet. It will have 2 full-size courtrooms plus a hearing room for our civil magistrate. It is going to enable us to grow. Our current facility works for us today. It does not work as we anticipate next year. The next facility that we are building will work for us for decades to come. One of the really neat features that the commissioners really wanted in the courtroom is to make sure that it was big enough to host a common police trial as well. The difference between our trials, a county court and a common police trial, is the number of jurors. We have 8. A common police trial has 12. So the jury box will be large enough for 12 jurors. The jury room will be large enough for 12 jurors to make sure that should something happen to the common police building, there is an opportunity for the operations to continue without having to do anything. So they're thinking ahead. So I really appreciate as a citizen, I really appreciate the county commissioners and what they expect in that building. The building is going up fast. I mean, we were actually very impressed with how quickly it's going up. We anticipate we'll be moving in about this time next year. One of the greatest benefits to us is that it is being erected without interfering with our current operations. So we're able to do everything we can, just maybe not necessarily park where we normally do. Next slide, please. That is the artist rendering of what the building will look like. There are very limited changes to that, so that's what we would expect it to approximately look like when we get in. It is big, I've got to tell you, looking at 22,000 square feet, you don't know how big that is until it starts going up. But we are definitely excited. Next slide, please. Like Judge Loxley has a veteran docket, I have what we call the success docket. It is designed for people with serious mental health issues that find themselves in the court system. In addition to mental health issues, many of them have dual diagnoses, so drug dependency or alcohol dependency issues. We started this about 9.5 years ago. I know every 2 years when we've come up here, we've been able to talk about it. We've had a few changes in our docket, and the reason we've had changes is because it has grown.
Last time we were here, we had about 12 or 13. This says 18, we're over 20 right now. As a result of that, we have broken it down into 2 sessions. Prior, we only had Wednesday mornings. We have enough people that work during the day that would not be able to make it on Wednesday morning, so we opened up a Thursday evening. So we have 2 sessions, one group for Thursday evenings, one group for Wednesday mornings. We have double digits in both of those as we speak, and it's fantastic. Absolutely love how they are helping each other out. The way we do it is a group counseling format where everyone is assisting each other. So we talk about real issues, we talk about honesty, we talk about micro goals, and we talk about victories that we have. And I can tell you, just as I have witnessed a graduation from the Veterans Corps, when you see someone who has made it through the 4 phases, they put a lot of work into it because it is intensive probation. This is not ordinary probation. They've chosen to put a lot more work in and have a lot more help in doing that work than you would normally have. And the benefits are so great. Every one of them has talked about the relationships that they've rebuilt with their families, rebuilt with their friends, they've rebuilt with their kids. They're able to see their grandkids. Some of them are able to get custody back of their own children. So it's amazing the benefits that they have. And in addition to those, the long-term effects where they have jobs, they have housing, they have a life that they can be very proud of. And it's special to us to be able to hear our participants say that I am proud of myself, because it's been a long time since they were. Next slide, please. In addition to coming out here every 2 years in the other jurisdictions, we do other community outreach. Judge Loxley does a lot of outreach with veterans associations throughout the state of Ohio, and I dare to say nationally. I know he's been recognized throughout the state of Ohio. 2021, is that right? That's right. The Hall of Fame, Veterans Hall of Fame, well deserved. In addition to that, we have a lot of kids come in to our court system. We have kids, students in high school from their various groups. We had mock trials. Every April, we host mock trials for 8th grade students who are homeschooled to have the ability to come in. We had 4 different weeks of homeschool group mock trials, and it's really neat to watch these kids. Because they are in 8th grade, and sometimes you forget that as you're watching them. It's like, okay, I've got to keep my eye on that one. I want to follow them through high school, college, law school, and then see where they're going to be. I particularly enjoyed this year because the last one we had, my daughter did it. I've been a prosecutor once in my life, not a lot. She was in the prosecutor's role, and I will tell you, I'd be afraid to go against her the way she did it. So I'm hoping she finds herself. But anyway, that's just some of the things that we do. We do invite the public in because we do want to be held accountable for what we do. We invite constructive criticism from anyone who comes in as well, because again, we have no problem being held accountable. We appreciate doing what we do. It's an honor and a privilege to serve our communities, as you guys know as well. So next slide is our last one. This is a special one, of course, it's Wayne Township. So, we thank you all very much for letting us come out every 2 years. The cat's out of the bag.
This is our special slide.
Waynesville.
But really, we do appreciate being able to come out. For you to give us the time to present what's going on in the county court. So thank you all very much.
We appreciate hearing from you. That's really good.
Unless there are any questions, we will leave you to the balance of your meeting.
Thank you very much for attending.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for
Oh,
having us.
absolutely.
Thanks for having us. Thank you
You
very
got
much.
it?
Enjoy the rest of the night.
Oh,
Take care.
thanks.
Thank you.
Always good to see you.
Thank you.
And you.
Thank you. Take it easy.
You moused up?
No, I see him at the fair, especially in election years.
All right, do we have any, we're on the citizens' comments, do we have any citizens' comments? our gallery.
Y'all good, Sam?
All right, now we have a road department report from Mr. Steve.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
My apologies for not getting the formal report written, but the events over the last few days have been prohibitive of that. So I'll just kind of verbalize here. So we all know through the storms on Friday, we ended up Friday evening with 3 roads closed, Chenoweth, O'Neill, and Middletown West Hill, with trees and lines and things. I will say that Fire Chief kept, and his department kept calling for road closed signs, and I was running pretty thin. I was about out by the time we got everything closed. But I will say by noon on Saturday, everything was back open to traffic. Not saying it was, power was restored, but everything was back open to traffic. Friday night, Saturday morning, they did call me back in at 0100 for a large tree on Old Stage, which I took the backhoe out, made 2 or 3 cuts with a saw and got it off the road and out of the way, and we actually cleaned that up today. And speaking of that, I'm sorry, I had 3.5 inches of rain at the shop, so I don't know. I think Jeff said in town where he lives, he had 3.5 inches. I don't know, I would imagine by the firehouse, he's not too far.
We had
from
4.
there. You had 4? Everybody was out there spitting in it.
Yeah.
So, but with that, so with all that being said, Jeff and I are kind of the dynamic duo this week because Kurt's out until probably the middle of November with his left knee surgery that he had on the 25th. Went well, he's doing well. I told his wife to make sure he stays up on his physical therapy, and she said she was on it.
Good.
And Caleb this week is on his honeymoon. He's actually on a cruise ship in the Caribbean at the present time. Or at least I think so. I haven't heard anything different. And as of today, we had 2/3 of the township is picked up and cleaned up. So one more day tomorrow, we're up in the north end. It just takes a little longer as we get truckloads of stuff, or debris or whatever, and hauling it back to the shop. Mowing is done for this year, other than cemeteries and the admin building and the shop. We'll probably, now that we've got some rain, it might have woke up the grass a little bit. I expect 1 or 2 more mows there, but as far as the roads, we're done. Boo signs, I'm hoping to get either Thursday or Friday for the Sauerkraut Festival. Mowing tractor was delivered today. It's sitting out in the parking lot. Brought it up for everybody to see. We have training on, there's a picture of it sitting at the shop right after it was delivered. So we'll have training on Thursday. A fellow from Dexter will come down from Bucyrus and he'll tune it to how I want it, and notice I said I want it. So we'll get it all fine tuned and any things that need to be taken care of. So on the 25th, I had an all-day webinar that I was here at the office for my pesticide applicators license recertification. Boy, that was a long day. I don't want to have to do that.
All day?
Not all day,
Oh,
8:30 to 4,
Wow.
4:30, 8:30 to 4:30,
Wow.
with 1 hour off for lunch. And then on the 26th, I was back up here for a CDL webinar with LTAP through ODOT. It was just kind of an update on the current CDL laws and things like that. Not a whole lot has changed. The one thing I did, the one new thing that I did not know that I do know now, not that it's a problem with us, but if you are driving a CDL vehicle and you're a CDL license holder and you are caught impaired, the levels of intoxication are cut in half. So in a regular automobile, it's 0.08 for alcohol. If you have a CDL license in a CDL vehicle, it's 0.04. So more stringent laws for the CDL. Not that we have any problem, you know, nothing of that nature. I was just curious, something I didn't know. I am working on quotes for new tires for my truck because they're getting to be baloney rides. So that's got to happen before winter. And lastly, I have a meeting tomorrow afternoon. I did, Neil and Kurt did assign the OPWC project to one of the engineers, so he called me today and he wanted to just go over a few things, so he's gonna meet me at the shop at 1 tomorrow, just to kind of, he just been laid out, he wants to know what's going on, so I said 1 o'clock tomorrow should be fine. I don't have anything down, everything's up. Nothing broke down, and that is all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Thank you so much, you and Jeff, for all that you've done the past few days. I know it's been.
You're entirely welcome. It's been challenging at times, but it was not a problem.
Appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you.
The residents appreciate it, especially on those roads that were shut down for a little
Oh, yeah.
period of time.
Well, I mean, it started to get dark Friday evening. I mean, two of them, one of them was just on a telephone line, and two of them were on power lines. The one on Middletown West Hill, at the bottom of the hill, we were cleaning up some trees on the far side, more towards the west. I came down the hill to see if Duke was there, which they weren't. But everybody was running thin because everybody went south. So I just kind of, there wasn't any power on. I mean, I know you were out, and I know the people up the hill were out, and I saw Mrs. Bates, and she said she was out, so I just kind of nudged it with the hoe, and it popped off.
It was sparking into the leaves, I heard it snapping up in there, the upper line, when that tree was on.
Oh, when the tree,
Yeah, the tree was on, yeah.
when it, but there was no,
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't anything, I mean, it was all deader than 4 o'clock,
Right, yeah.
so.
I don't know, I don't like electricity, I don't.
No, those are
It
pretty,
does
those are hot
it.
lines, I think those lines now, down through there are, I think they're 7500s, or they used to be 7500, but they put new wire up, so they might be pushing a little more juice now,
Yeah.
but at any rate,
Well, good
so.
enough. Yep.
We had, by noon on Saturday, we had all our roads open, back to the motoring public, even if they didn't have any lights in the house.
Yeah. They can get out, go eat somewhere.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet, thank you.
All right, moving on to fire department report with Chief Jason Beckett.
All right, good evening. Thank you. I'm sorry I did not get the numbers to you. I had a computer issue this morning. The motherboard died at about 7:15. So I am sans a computer right now. What I was able to pull off prior to that is, and I put printouts in front of everybody, is just some of the stats total. So for the month of September, we did 129 incidents total. For 81 of those were EMS calls, and then there were 6 fire calls and 42 others. Keep in mind, again, as we gather that data, those others are calls that generally require the fire truck. So anything that says fire call involved a fire somehow. The rest could be auto accidents, things like that, trees down. Just to touch on that, appreciate Mr. Camry's help with helping to divide and conquer some of the tree downs. We did roughly about 50 calls between Friday night at 3 until Sunday. Additional to our normal call, where we had 4 or 5 EMS calls in that time as well. So the crews came out, did a fabulous job. Friday when it hit, the county communication center goes to what they call area command. And it's just, you take one of your MDCs and you log it in as area command, and then they start just dropping the calls in, and it's the incident commander's responsibility to start assigning. Well, that was happening right about the time I met you on the road, all that was happening, so.
You look a little distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting those farmed out and making sure and keeping track. It's great to have that MDC, but I still rely on an old piece of paper. All right, they're going in here, so. Mr. Harter, we got his official resignation. I believe he's moved out of state and is doing some welding or something. He did indicate in another email that when he gets back off this contract, he'd like to come back. So we'd explore that when it happens. The state fire marshal's statewide burn ban is still in effect, even though we got all that rain. I imagine he will probably lift that on Thursday, is usually when he puts out his stuff is on Thursdays. But starting today is the ODNR burn ban from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., which I will put back out onto the website once I get my computer back in 3 to 5 business days. I sent you all Alexa poll. If you have any questions or that, just let me know. I'd like to start pushing those out. So we're starting to, we're at the point where those are final reviewed, waiting for your approval. We can send those out and start working on a new batch. So we've always got something going
So
on.
we did those ones, what did we do, like 4 or 5 last time?
Mhm.
And did those get,
They have
pushed
not been
out?
put out yet because I
okay,
sent them all back just to make sure, and that way I can send those all out, then I'll get the next batch to you and we'll start. I don't wanna send 30 or 40 out at a time.
because you just gave us 2 this time, right? I thought there was just 2 in that even, wasn't
No, there should have been more than
There's
that.
quite a few.
there?
Yeah,
Oh, was there?
yeah,
What is that today?
Uh-huh, or yesterday,
No,
Yeah, the other-
was there 2?
Last week,
yeah, it was all the ones we'd already done and
Okay.
and
then
there's some.
2 or 3 additional,
All right.
I think. So, let me check. Oh,
You
I
can't do
know,
that.
yeah,
Hey,
I know.
it's not in there.
So next meeting, can we approve those? Or like,
Yeah.
if Andy should be here, I would
Right.
by then. And that way we can get you this information you need so you can share that with your
Yeah.
members for sure.
Yeah,
and
We,
what,
we owe that to you.
I appreciate that. And what happens is, once you approve them, I go into the system and I go click, 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 send.
Yeah.
And then how it works is, they get an email notification, and they can either pull it up on their phone, when they come in, they can look, and they have to acknowledge. Once they receive it, they have to acknowledge it, and it will actually tell us how long they were in the policy.
okay.
So, if they just look at it and go, "Oh, okay," and then, they back without a backer, and they were only in the policy for 2 seconds, they didn't read it.
Can you say that to the camera?
Yeah.
Robert? Yeah.
You know how long you're gonna be in the policy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been very forthcoming with that, like there's,
It's not gonna be a surprise.
the good thing about it too is it's on your phone. If you're not sure about something and you're out of the scene, both the policy and the procedure manual are gonna be there, you can double check, like, oh, okay, so. Our SAFER grant, we are starting, we've got, I'd say, Kyle and I have 90% of what we need done. I know Mr. Fitzsimmons is working on getting some of the financial stuff from his part for us. Once we get that, I send it off to Lexipol, and then, our grant writer will do a Zoom meeting with them, and we'll start working on that. I have an open house scheduled for, the 20th of October, which, I'm gonna start putting out on the, Facebook page. And it's just, come see the firehouse, come ask any questions you might wanna ask, and just open it up. It is Fire Prevention Month. We do have this, we have, the first grade and the kindergarten is scheduled to come here in the next couple weeks to the station. So that'll be exciting.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know, I said, when I asked, I was like, well, how many kids have you, you sent? She's like, oh, about 125. I said, oh, we need to break that up into two different sections. And there's only 3 of us that
Yeah.
day, so, but yeah, so we're gonna break it up, and, I like doing PR. I can honestly tell you, I remember being in the 5th grade, and the firemen coming in, and, doing that, I just,
Do they all just walk over?
yeah, they walk them over.
That's great, yeah.
So at Carlisle, I do Carlisle because my grandsons go to Carlisle, and I was always hiding behind the fire truck, and they'd come out, and so it was, I might go down and do theirs again, just in case. So yeah, they're coming, we're very excited to have them.
What do we do to make that moment just one that just grasps their attention and something that they remember? Is there anything that we do to really?
This being my first fire prevention month here, I think the kids remember seeing the trucks and then seeing the station, but I make it educational for them too. You know, it's hard. The older kids are a little easier. The younger, like the first graders, I've got a black sheet, and I say, remember, if there's smoke, we got to crawl low under smoke. So I have the teachers will hold the sheet and flap it, and the kids have to crawl under to stay low under smoke. And as we move on and get older kids and develop our public relations program, we'll have more things.
I know it's kind of like last minute, but do you think we could do like a certificate or anything like that? Or at least provide the teachers with maybe a blank certificate, and that way the teacher could then write the student's name in there and say that, hey, they visited.
I think I could come up with something.
Something like that, you know, just kind
To
of,
email, like, hey, this is with our
something like that, or, you know,
Yeah.
say, hey, this is something you can share with your students, and it's not gonna, you know.
right,
Yeah. Were
I
you
know.
getting the plastic hats for that, or is that for the open house?
that's for the open house.
And that's where I was going to next. I know, like, I've seen Clear Creek do like touch of trucks and things like that.
Yeah,
And they
we
do
got
lots of-
invited to, a touch a truck. I'm waiting to hear on the specific dates through the school. The junior high, they're doing a career day touch a truck for the older kids to come out. So, we'll be participating in that gladly. So, yeah, the open house, one thing, we're kind of in the final planning stages of the IAP and stuff for the Ohio Sauerkraut Festival. I guess it's kind of really well attended, so, the more questions I ask, the more I go, huh, okay. So, but we're gonna be okay. We went down and picked up Station 2 a little bit, because that will be kind of our base of operations
Okay.
for the event.
The boo,
Huh?
the boo,
The
base of operation.
Base, yeah, the boo, that's right.
I didn't know what you were talking
I know, me too.
I thought it because it was haunted.
I knew what.
Both ways.
So,
I was thinking fall, but.
forward operating.
Yeah.
So, I would like to, put out some, like, bits and pieces from the levy fact sheet that Mr. Edwards put out, onto the Facebook page. Just letting people know the who, what, where, why of the levy, and start putting that out there. I also would like to put that email address that Lieutenant Dow set up for us on there, so if people have questions, they can send them in for us. I would like to do that as soon as I get my computer back.
Fire levy at Wayne Township, not US, correct?
I believe that's it. I'll double check with Lieutenant Dow, but yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were okay with me doing that before I did that.
I support it.
And always, I will keep the comments turned off. So. I think that's all I have for you, unless you have any questions for me.
Do not, thank you very much, Chief, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, you're
And I
welcome.
would like to, again, say thank you to the road department for their assistance during the hurricane. I never thought about it, but I got to see a snow plow push more than snow.
Yeah.
Snow plows
It's a
aren't
wood-
just
it's
for
a wood
pushing
plow.
snow.
That's right.
Plow.
Now it's just a plow.
Hey, when the defecation hits the oscillating mirror moving device, we're all on the same team.
I wasn't mad.
Okay, moving on to our zoning department report, Ms. Stacy Logan.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
So basically here you have just my list of permits for the month. Nothing unusual other than a few cabinets for a cell tower, which comes up once in a while. I have been doing a lot of talking. I guess we're not at the stage for anything progressing right now, but out on 73 and Township line, that recent rezoning, I've talked to the engineer this past, about a week and a half ago, and they don't know that that's gonna go forward, due to how many buildings they can fit on the site to make it. So that one's in limbo right now.
The car lot?
The car lot one, yes. And then I've been talking with Brixie's about the other rezoning for self-storage and just talking to them and explaining the steps to go to proceed. They're hoping to get on an agenda possibly this fall still for a conditional use. We've been working, as I kind of alluded to, on this enforcement issue that is most likely going to lead to an application here shortly. And the Ohio Greenworks, been in contact with him as well. He's working on a stormwater management plan, and he has some questions for me today about his retention pond. So as soon as he has that plan finished up, we'll be going forward back to the BZA for the second half of his approval. The magazine should go out this week at some point. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, now we have the administration's report. Ms. Edwards,
Good evening, board.
good evening.
Just a short update on the State Route 73 Bridge project. I put an email attachment into your packet tonight if you want to read what avenues they came up to solve some of the traffic issues over the second full weekend in October. So all the things that they agreed to do are in that email.
Do you know if Kurt's gonna be putting something on the Sauerkraut page about that?
As soon as we get the official statement, the press release that they're gonna put out, then
Okay.
we will put it out. We have not received their press release that we thought would be here before now. So. Fire department, Chief and I have a meeting on Thursday, October 3rd, with Katie at the county prosecutor's office, to discuss some of the methodology and so forth that we're gonna use or could potentially use for our staffing. So more to come on that after we have our meeting with her. The HCA assessment, that was done outside of our department, and that's where they came around and did assessments for all the buildings, so in the packet. There's really a nice, it's 22 pages, but it's worth looking at. Actually, when it came out, there were some buildings that they added to the cost. It was kind of interesting that the fire station actually came down in the value, the new station. And then they found about $250,000 worth of incidentals. Remember how they were talking about incidentals?
Yeah.
That they don't normally pick up what they see, and then when they come out, they go, you got a flagpole, or you got a fence.
Right.
Or whatever. So there was actually $250,000 of stuff that they found that, was not on a rider or being covered. So that was kind of interesting.
I haven't had a chance to look at it all yet, and I know you haven't either, because you don't have a computer.
Yeah, and the very last page is a nice spreadsheet, and it'll show you those percentages where they went up, went down, and in what building and facility.
Cool.
It's a little hard to read, it must be on a big spreadsheet, and when they attached it, I had a hard time coming up to get it big enough to make it readable, but I think it's big enough to be readable in your packet. Roofing for the administration building, I had another company come out, Patriot Construction Company. They were out today, actually out last week. They flew a drone over the building and took a look, and then they had their team come out and they did an assessment on both flat roofs and the shingled roofs. Actually heard a big boom, and I guess one of the guys slipped and fell and slid down the roof. That's how loose the granulars are on the roof. They did find on the flat roof, they could not believe that we did not have a leak on the east side flat roof. They said the water was standing 1.5 feet deep. So they unclogged the drain on the flat roof,
Oh,
which I couldn't remember, it was a drain up at the end.
well, yeah, there's a drain up there, but
Couldn't pump it, yeah. we
it's
don't-
never had that much of a problem. 1.5 foot of water?
It's,
Goodness, that was-
Well, we did have a little rain lately.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, I bet all the leaves blew in from everything.
Wow.
Well, it's,
Plugged it
yeah,
up.
I'm assuming
yeah,
it's
it's
coming
like,
together,
it's
man.
usually, it's typically never a problem, but however, this storm was
Yeah.
winds from the east.
and
It could have been trees from around here, because we took them all down.
Yeah.
that's where it is left over from last year. I don't know. But, yeah, I found that interesting. So, whatever patching we did back there a couple of years ago must be holding
Must
good.
be doing pretty good, yeah.
So, yeah, but they said in general, when they left here, they're gonna put together a complete written report and so forth, with pictures and, you know, and just so what their opinion is.
But did the HCA guy go up on the roof too? HCA Asset Management?
No,
No. Just
Okay,
did
because his
inside.
report just shows roof says good on his report, on this building, which I thought was.
we walked around when I took
Okay,
him
so
around
he didn't
everything,
go
but
up.
he didn't know, we did not climb
Okay.
up on the roof or anything.
And other than that, on November 5th, the election night, Joe Garrett from Chabelle is going to try to stop in our meeting, and our electric aggregation, I think, is good through about, I don't know, spring of next year, but he wants to put an action plan together. He wants to make sure that they have the ability to bid for us when the time is right, and so he's gonna come down and talk about that. But he
Tell him to
really
make it
feels-
short, because we all need to get home and watch TV. We gotta make that a short meeting that night.
Did our team give you an estimate?
No, I've not asked for estimates from any companies, I've been telling them all, we gotta get bids and so forth, so it will be.
At what point do you wanna talk about this then? Is this a good?
I meant to give this to you yesterday, this is updated today, except for, refer to Mr. Fitzsimmons, on whether or not the $25,000 for the micro seal, has that bill been paid?
Line
Or
14.
Strasser.
Strasser, well, we just signed the bill tonight, so it'll be paid.
And is that, did you take the 25,000 out of,
ARPA.
Pretty sure I did, yeah.
Okay.
Line 18.
yeah.
I was told to do it.
So
Yeah.
then is this green the remaining one?
So the green is, yeah, estimated, remaining down in yellow is the updated totals on, approximate totals of what is going into each department.
So we still have we still have 95 and 70. So do those include what's already committed or not?
Those do not include, those are
Those are-
actual
Those are,
cash.
And
okay.
there should be 25.
So we got,
Tractor.
we got a commitment for
Yeah, I had to redo that one, yeah.
PWC, we got a, open one for, Well, if he does a microseal, then that will be all, so then the only outstanding we'll have is a OPWC one and then the Flint Avenue OPWC.
December 31st, has to be committed.
I know, yeah, so I'm thinking we need to start looking at that, that's why I'm talking about the roof.
Now, we
Yeah.
could apply some of this to
Then
the,
you got the 25 out for the tractor, right?
Well,
Is that
that's-
on? I don't have that.
See, I've got it on here, but I don't have it as a negative, as a paid. So I just wanna make sure that
Oh,
they get a chance to talk to Scott today about it.
on the admin side, we could put some of that forward for the document scanning. Out of the 50, we could put 10, 15 towards that. Unless you got that earmarked already for something else.
Yeah, we just wanna show where we've got, like you said, between now and December to get under contract for,
Well, we're under contract, we could just apply it.
huh?
We could apply
We
it.
just need a resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we're under contract.
well, but we have to pass a resolution to take, commitment out of ARPA funds, so
Well,
we will work on that next meeting, we're all three trustees here, we'll have,
Yeah,
so we can,
it looks like you can buy more.
so, Brian, you thinking you wanna have both Patriot and RTM do estimates?
Well, yeah, I think we need to get a third one too. I mean, I believe 3, I don't know who right offhand. I'm just saying, if we can get a third one in there. No,
More salt?
Stacy, no,
pardon me?
Need more salt.
no.
What again?
So, we get a third one, and just see what we do.
Speed sprayer? Oh, you got one.
okay, yeah, we will do that.
But yeah, I think we really need to move quickly.
Yeah,
Cause I mean, we're October,
Well, like, for example,
and they're
this,
gonna get hit hard from the storm. They're gonna be busy.
It just has to be encumbered, right? It doesn't
Yeah, it
have
has
to
to
be
be
just,
encumbered.
yeah,
Okay.
you just need to be under contract and then
Gotcha.
encumber it, and then it need to be paid out 25,
yeah.
so.
So we need to spend another 10 or 25.
That's what it looks like.
So that's where the Lucases, the Lucases will come out of that, right?
If we can. That's kind of why I tallied some of the departments on what, we put in.
Get them stair chairs and Lucas's.
Yeah, chief, you need to,
Yeah,
I have to spend $125,000, is that what you're telling me?
yes.
No.
Don't tell Tanner though.
No.
That'll be $450,000.
I'm not recommending that. I'm
Right.
recommending take a strong look and just see what we.
Okay.
Well, we know. I think that was gonna be an ask anyhow, so.
Yeah, because we couldn't do, the employee retention got taken out, didn't
Right.
it? Right,
Yeah, that got struck from the
Right.
rule book.
so that shouldn't say commit anymore.
Well, there was one that went through.
The
Right.
7 went through, but the 8 should be removed, right?
Yeah, 03 went through.
No, I think
I'm sorry,
7 and
23.
8 both went through.
I'll get a motherboard.
I will get with.
It's under warranty, you know?
Oh, so I think, because there were resolutions on,
So Scott, the,
Right, did we do a
that
resolution
tractor
on
come
the
off
uniform?
yours
I remember.
here or
that's
not?
the.
Yes.
line-
So on line 16,
Okay,
Oh, okay, so that's already,
That's right.
no.
that's already encumbered, or, yeah, encumbered. I mean, he's showing it's got its own paid. Did you guys sign a check tonight for the tractor? And the
yes,
mowing?
we
Yeah.
did.
Okay, so it's, in essence, it's been paid, so it is, should pay.
You just gotta readjust which account it comes out of.
Yeah, he
Needs
said
to
he
come
didn't use,
You didn't use
he didn't use
the ARPA.
the ARPA.
He did on the tractor. That's what he had on the purchase order. That's what he told me anyways.
Why
Yes.
wouldn't,
Line 16,
why wouldn't we have used it?
Huh?
Why wouldn't we have
it's,
used it?
yeah, it's right here.
No, that's what I asked to make sure he did use it,
No.
because
Yeah, he did.
he was not
Okay.
aware of this, all this.
I thought he said he.
Is that what you missed the check or what?
Huh?
No, he'll be back.
But
Okay.
it's 20, it was just one unit for both pieces.
Correct.
One for each,
One, not one for each, one for the whole thing.
yes.
Yeah, so, and when we discussed it and we took it and applied it to the tractor.
Okay, then that's good, I can mark that one as being.
So that one is paid, yeah.
Yes.
And then the micro seal, you guys sign that check tonight as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so that one is, so that one's paid.
All right.
Is that included in your totals down here, Gus, on the bottom?
If it's not in red, it's not included down here.
Okay,
I changed a couple of these to red today, so.
okay.
So wait, so when do we need to take, road 18 needs to, that 25 grand needs to come out of that 70, is that what you're saying?
Yes. I'll put us down to about 95 and 50 each.
So then the commit on 20 isn't taken out either,
Correct.
so we're down over 20 okay.
Yeah. We're down to about 1 or 2 units, I think.
But then we're still at 95 on the first one? Or what's the commit of PWC Third Street? We already said this, row 5.
That's what,
That's the one that, we have
Village.
with the
That's the
village.
village,
That's,
right.
we've
we put our number, we put our name on it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
They got, that project got funded by not only state, also a federal grant.
Federal
so,
grant.
It was actually probably overfunded, so I don't know if we're gonna get invoiced on that or not. That's what I may have to find out.
Okay.
Are we able to put in that road money towards Corbin Avenue, even though we got OPWC money?
Yeah, that's why we're
Oh.
meeting tomorrow, trying to get this bid out this year, so we can
No.
have that
So we can,
25,000 committed to that
right,
contract.
so we can get that, once it's bid out, then we can encumber that money for that project.
Sure.
So the only two things I see is Lucas's and Rowe
Right.
that we need to look at strongly, quickly.
You're talking about the email that Assistant Chief put out?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Well, we talked
Well,
about
there
it at the
was
last
two.
meeting, it was
there's
It
two.
was-
there's two
right.
Lucases.
Well, we need 2 Lucas devices, but there's 2 emails that said,
Right.
one is, just getting the 2 Lucases. The other is getting into
More of a contract.
contract, at least to own.
Yeah, okay.
I looked at that early on, then I didn't get a chance to read, because you said we had till end of the month.
End of the
right,
month,
to-
yes.
So at that next meeting, we need to really, we
Yeah.
need to talk about
That needs to be on
the-
new business.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
And
roof needs to be on old business.
These numbers at the bottom, that's your total?
we talked about it when you were out,
That's total remaining,
but it
that
doesn't
doesn't
include.
include the ones in
commit.
black.
Because looking at the fund status, there's only $141,000 in the local fiscal recovery fund.
Dibs.
Well, that
That's
will be,
not how
that
that
will be about
works.
right.
That
When you
doesn't
take the
match
20, when you
numbers.
take the 25,000 out for the, micro seal, which is in the black, that'll take it off that 70. You take the, see, the tractor's already off.
So
Yeah.
what was highlighted was what was, had been initially given? Or what's the highlighted numbers?
Highlighted in yellow,
Yeah,
that's just, yeah, what's been approved in red, for each department,
oh, okay,
have been paid out in red.
I see.
One of the,
So the 95 and 70 are your guesstimates of what are left in the program to spend?
yes, that should match up close. I think we take that one unit off, it should be pretty close to what you had there.
Yeah.
There's one line, item number 8, I believe, 7 or 8, on employee retention, that we paid a small amount out of that 25,000, before they came out with the the new ruling on it,
Yeah,
and the rest of that's what we've been taking, training and education funds out of.
mhm.
So I have no idea how much we've taken between Daryl and you out of that 25,000. I'll get with you sometime before next meeting, and we'll try to chew this up.
Okay.
All right, that sounds good. So we're putting new business as Lucas, old business roof, next agenda, and tree this up. Done deal. Anything else on our, administration report?
That should be it.
All right. Fiscal officer report, verbal, Mr. Scott.
Yeah, I saw that. Guess I didn't submit anything. You know, I just passed up the credit cards, and just remember, you know, the old ones are getting shut off by the 8th. So if you got recurring charges, you put it on the department card. So make sure that happens, because otherwise when you're gonna charge it won't charge. I have a couple notes here. Then I was working with the fire department on the safer grant. It's been a little slow. Nearly got the fire end done, but got quite a bit more to do on the township side of it, because they want to know the township operation budget for the past 4 years. So it'll be a bit more work probably going into the weekend. So also the other thing, I don't know that you're kind of aware of it, but I'm pivoting away from us writing a whole lot of checks. You guys probably are more aware of it. We're not sending as many checks. We're either doing a payment through their vendor's portal, or we're doing a direct deposit into their accounts. That way, a number of different things really. It's one that's more secure, more efficient. You know, we're not depending on U.S. mail to do it. And then it's easier online, because you're not stuffing as many things. We're not paying envelopes, stamps, and we're decreasing the cost that we pay for the checks. So all said and done, that you'll continue to see, there'll still be some of those one-offs that we'll continue to do. Well, not really one-offs, just smaller organizations like Minot Valley, Power, Red Barn, for $25 checks. And we'll just mess with it, we'll do that, but. SCDU, I guess they're about done, is what they sent me an email, and we're targeting, yet the next couple of weeks for my training for the platform. So that will be all ready to roll out, soon. Yeah, and then we'll have to start discussing about, once that gets rolled out, about scanning documents and beginning to do the electronic archival of our documents. But other than that, that's about all I got for tonight.
All right,
Bills are paid.
thank you.
Good.
Without
All
penalty.
right,
It's better.
moving on, old business, trees. Are we doing that this fall, do we think, or how do we wanna, how's your schedule looking with, saying that there's no more, events coming, weather events or whatever?
Well, you're right,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's fine, with our last meeting, still being in drought conditions,
I know.
I was not
That's what
very
I was wondering, if
keen
we wanna
on.
do we wanna just wait till next spring? I don't think it's really hurting anything to wait, because we still gotta worry about,
I'm not a tree guy, so I don't
okay.
know.
I know when we were.
I'm good at tearing things
Yeah.
out, but I don't know about keeping them alive.
But I know when we were talking last time, we for the locating of the one out here at the front is gonna be a little bit of a location.
Right, yeah, well, both of them out front, because one on each side, we're just moving them further out of the
Yeah.
yard. So, and I know there's a gas line out there, and
Right,
so, I mean, locate is 2 days,
right,
48 hours or whatever, but, I mean, like I said, in my report, 3.5 inches at the shop, I'm gonna assume that we're gonna say at least 2.5 to 3 here anyways, if not the same. How much much that went in the ground. A good portion of it, I would imagine, but I don't know. I have not seen the drought map.
That'll be
Been a little
Thursday.
busy. I haven't
Yeah.
watched it. I'm sorry.
That'll be Thursday. I think that comes out.
That's right. It comes out on Thursday, so that's up to you guys. I mean, it's not a problem on my end.
I know, by the time we get to next meeting, then we're mid-October. I can call Perky and see what he thinks, just to get an idea, because then it wouldn't be till really beginning of November before we, because we can't, I mean, after Sauerkraut Festival, you know, all this other stuff,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
so.
I mean, you get into, I mean, if you get the trees, then they're already into dormancy,
Yeah,
no harm, no foul, it's just digging a hole, putting them in it, and, you know, maybe, getting a little water on them or whatever, just to,
all right,
Let
I'll call him and see what he thinks from there.
I mean, and to the species that you had chosen or whatever, I don't, have to see what those dormancy
Right,
times are for those,
yeah, and the
Particular-
availability of the trees too.
True.
So.
yeah.
What type was it?
We're doing it's like a tulip pop, I always call them tulip poplars, tulip poplar back here, tulip tree, I think they called it
Yeah.
initially. And then it was two of these red fire, black gums, black gum trees.
I remember gums, yeah.
They're not the gum, the ones with the balls or anything on them, the nasty things, and then a red bud tree for over here.
We were shooting for oak trees, so we have spinners everywhere.
Yeah.
And then on the backside, we were gonna have some cottonwoods. So
Yeah,
Oh, God.
cottonwoods, yeah, we need those.
we got spinners and cotton everywhere.
You got enough of them down along the river at the shop. Snowing and frickin'.
All right, I'll come back with something.
Yeah.
165 Miami Street, still there?
It's
Still
still-
there.
God, I hope so.
It's worth $2 million, I saw in that report. Did you see
Yeah.
that? Yeah, he has a replacement cost of like $2.1 million in that building. I was,
Like there's the asking price.
We're gonna maintain it.
I looked on the auditor's site, and they've got it valued at $454.
yeah.
So, and $2 million of,
I don't, yeah, I was a little kind of shocked at the guys, I don't know but, I mean, replacement, that's replacement cost. I can kind of see to rebuild a building is gonna be, but that's.
well,
not
true,
like a-
yeah,
that's not
because you
like
gotta
a big-
have,
That's not like a brick building, right? It's kind of,
no, but I mean,
Two-story.
Square footage.
the square footage and,
Right.
and to rebuild it at, up to today's code and
Right.
standard or whatever, yeah, you run into,
Yeah.
especially, and I'm sure he was quoting it, building it as a firehouse
uh-huh,
replacement,
yes.
building it back, so it might be a little erroneous, but.
Yeah,
But I was curious, at 400, just say $450,000, as far as the valuation from the auditor's website. I was like, ooh, woof, I don't know whether we get anybody to pay that for it or not.
Now it's the ghost that helped.
Right, exactly, yeah, Orville will help us
Yeah.
out.
all right, do you have any other old business? Anybody else? Okay.
Nope.
New business, do we have any questions or concerns of the bills?
I had none.
None. All right, we're going into legislation. We have resolution number 2024-112, which is accepting the resignation of Josh Harter from the Wayne Township Fire Department. I know we talked about this a little earlier. He's got some other, moving out of the area, becoming a welder going on, so it will be effective on September 19th, which already passed, so he's gone already. So I will make a motion to vote on resolution 2024-112.
I will second.
All right. Roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman
Yes.
and Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
All right, this resolution passes first day of October 2024, second day of
First.
Who is first?
First,
Yeah,
yeah,
who is first? I thought,
first. We're not passing that yet.
I thought it was the second.
All right, do we have any other new business?
Maybe not.
Okay. Correspondence, please.
I don't have any.
I have none.
I do.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We received some nice cards into the firehouse from, one of the Springboro football, groups that practice down here in Corwin. We went down and sprayed the kids on an October night, and they had, all three teams sign cards and send it to us. They're up at the firehouse. And then Mr. Edwards forwarded a, email from a person that, we treated at a football game, and she was very, happy and pleased with how well she was treated by one of our medics, Kim Coombs. So
Oh, good.
I forwarded that to Kim and told her to keep up the good work, so,
That's good news.
yeah.
Is it like correspondence, but Brad and I went to the Warren County, Township Association meeting the other night, and
Along with Scott.
yeah, Scott went,
And Scott.
Scott was one of Scott, there was three
Scott,
Dianes there, and
Scott.
3 Scotts there, and Scott was there, yes, all of us. Wayne Township was represented that night, we were.
Yes, we
Yes,
were.
we were. So they're having their, dinner meeting on November 7th. It will be at Armco Park again, and the food will be good, so they'll be sending stuff out on that. And just everybody put that on their calendars. I don't know if you know, do you know what this is? Okay. It's a, so Warren County Township Association, obviously, we're all in it, and they do an annual meeting, it's a dinner meeting, and representatives from the county also come in, elected officials come in, engineer's office, the clerk of courts, I mean, all these.
The auditor, judges.
Auditor, judges, they all give an update, sheriff, they all give an update of their area. It's really a good way to learn about really what's going on in the county.
November 7th,
Yes,
put it in my schedule.
okay. All right, anything else correspondence wise?
No, we had 2 notifications on, some Chevrolet, recall notices, but the departments have got them.
All right. Do we have any elected officials comments? Mr.
I
Kaufman?
have none.
All right. Hopefully everybody's got their power back on, but, don't know if that's true yet, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Andy's working on it, apparently. So, we are going to go into a work session and talk about fire department video, and I don't know, but need to talk about the policy updates, we'll do that next time, I guess, but. Okay, back in the regular session, so no need for executive session tonight. I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Alrighty, all in favor of adjourning? Say aye.
What
Nays?
time is it?